Well, hello everyone. Welcome to KCPS Homeroom, our daily television show where we feature teaching, learning, and experiences for our kids and students around the region. Today we have a really special show because we're talking to principals and parents together to find out some of their thoughts about how we're approaching this school year. I'm going to have these lovely people introduce themselves quickly so you know who we're talking to and how they're providing advice to us today. So Jennifer Willard, will you please start?
Hello, my name is Jennifer Willard. I am the PTO president at Center Middle School.
In the Center School District. Wonderful. Yes. South Keelie, thank you for joining us. Miss Woodley.
Hi, my name is Brandy Woodley, and I am the parent of twins at Walden Middle School, and I do have a junior at Park Hill South.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us. Dr. Stucker.
Hi, I'm Keelie Stucker, principal of Walden Middle School in the Park Hill School District, and this is the brand new middle school in Park Hill.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us today. Joell Ramsdell, Foreign Language Academy.
Yes, I'm Dr. Ramsdell. I'm the principal of the Foreign Language Academy here in Kansas City. We are one of the signature schools with our theme being either Spanish or Mandarin immersion.
That's Dr. Ramsdell. And then Miss Hernandez-Davis, a parent at FLA.
Hi, well, my name is Ana Hernandez-Davis, and I have two kids in the Spanish program. And
yes, what grade are your students in, Miss Hernandez-Davis?
One is in 5th grade, and the other one is in 2nd grade.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us today. And Miss Bowne, Park Hill School District.
Hi, my name is Stephani Bowne, and I have two children in the Park Hill School District. I have a child in 4th grade and then another one in 7th grade at Walden Middle School.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. And Dr. Jones, introduce yourself, please.
I am the extremely proud principal of Center Middle School, and I'm very happy to be a part of this conversation.
Thanks for joining us. So as you can see, we have 3 principals and then parents from each of their schools joining us to have a conversation today about how we're going to do school this year in all of our school districts around the Kansas City region. So we're going to start with a pretty simple question, just one that I think that will get you guys warmed up to have a conversation with us. But as you think about your one word this year, as we approach the school year, what would be one word that you're feeling, that you're hoping for, that you're trying to live out as we approach this school year? And Dr. Ramsdell, you can go first since you're a KCPS person.
Excellent. The word grace, providing grace for teachers who are in a new situation, for parents and students that are going through this for a first time as a start of a school year. So I think the big word this year is grace.
Perfect word. Thank you for sharing. And you guys can just kind of share out when you're ready. Otherwise, I'll moderate for you and call on you. But when you're ready, you can share out.
Well, my word would be flexibility. It kind of goes along with grace a little bit in that our world keeps changing every single day. And we are very much learning how to do this virtual environment. And so everyone has to be a little bit flexible during this time.
Well, I would like to add another word, maybe team. This time, teamwork. Maybe this time is not only about sending our kids to school and continue with our lives, as in my case as a parent. I think now it's more like be more into my 2 kids now, what they're doing maybe every hour. It's going to be a challenge for us that we are not used to, and kind of probably value more the work of the teachers that I already did before, but it's just different perspective.
I think my word would be patience. It's going to take all of us working together. It's going to take patience on the kids, on the staff, and on the parents to make this work for everyone.
I think for me,
sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I think for me, kind of breaking the rules, I have 2 words, just finding peace. And it's kind of derivative of what everybody said about grace and flexibility. In every situation, we've gotten emails, we've gotten calls about changes and things that as a district finds out information, they're trying to get it out to us. And each time it's kind of frustrating, but I keep talking to my girls about finding peace and not being upset, because this is how things are right now. We just have to kind of roll with it and be peaceful and be optimistic.
Anxious is what comes to mind, which I think can sometimes, have two meanings, because I'm anxious for the kids to get back into school and to see their friends and maybe a little bit of normalcy, but also anxious for the unknown and all of the changes that are probably ahead, but just anxious to get started.
I wish I could just simply say ditto, but I can't. So the word that I've been using quite a bit is resilience. There's extreme resilience among our students, the staff, our parents, and our community. And that's what's allowed us to have success within the last 2 weeks as we began our school year. So resilience is something that I see happening throughout, along with the other words that were expressed.
All very applicable words. And as I hear you say those words, I keep thinking about how we are such models right now for our kids, right? As parents, as principals, administrators, we are such models, and they are watching us and looking to us to see how we're reacting. And so if we can offer the words that you're saying and sharing to our kids, and they can see that and it resonates and it's a model for them, I think we're going to be in good shape. So as adults, thank you for being those mentors who have those words that you're sharing right now with your kids. So we have our one word. We talked a little bit about how you're feeling. We asked our kids the same question when we talked to our students for our student town hall episode. But what are you worried about for this year? Do you have worries? And can you talk about some of the worries that you may have?
Well, I don't have any worries per se, but just concerns about making sure my daughters are successful at everything. We have chosen the virtual model for my girls for the first semester. And thankfully at Walden, everything went really good for the spring when we went to virtual. And they were able to check in and have teachers check in with them and get help. It's just different. Because I think there's going to be more rigor now that they've been through a time period of the virtual. And I just hope that they're able to keep up with everything and that they'll just be able to be successful and they're able to come out of the semester still along with their peers that are doing face-to-face, and they grasp all the information and able to get the good grades that they're going to strive for.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else have worries that you'd like to share?
We chose in person for our kids. And so I think my worry is just mainly the consistency, that it's not kind of bouncing around from in person to going hybrid or going online. I think that's my biggest concern, hoping that we can start and stay in, but obviously know that we have to be flexible and that may not happen.
I would say that the big worry that I have is doing it right. We want to do it right for everyone because it's uncharted territory. We know that we have angst on every side, our students, our teachers, our staff members, our parents, our community. And you only really get it once. You get a chance to do it the first time, one time. And we want to make sure that the experience is one where students will continue to learn, continue to thrive, continue to receive what it is they need in order to move on to the next level. But there's always that concern that we may be missing something. Every day is a new experience. We find out something else that we did not think about because we've never been in this situation before. But it's always fearful as a building leader that you may be missing something. There may be something that needed to be tightened, that you didn't quite get tightened before the start of school. And what we asked, as Dr. Ramsdell said, is that we ask for grace because we know we're going to continue to make mistakes. We just don't want to lose our scholars or the parents while we are trying to make it better and trying to improve our practice.
To piggyback on Dr. Jones, I would say that my biggest concern is equity in regards to not all of our families have the same access to allow their child to be on screen during a scheduled time, and be able to give those students that are maybe doing their work after hours the same equitable access to teacher-student discussions that happen in the classroom, to the one-to-one intervention and help that they might need, making sure that we are really approaching this in a meaningful and an intentful way to make sure that no student is lost.
Well, I will also add, I think that is, in my opinion, a little bit more a challenge for the bilingual learners, since based on elementary, I am assuming it's more repetition. So it's not only one language, but two. And in my personal experience is going to be also how I'm going to see my second grader also deal with the speech therapy online. I don't know how this is going to be, but I guess we're all learning.
Well, and I'll share that I do worry about all the things that the kids are bringing to school and their emotional health. My online kids, as well as my kids here at school, all of them are going through so much. And so we are, it's our duty to help these kids get through some of this and help our parents get through some of this. I feel like school is the common place where we can come together and we can work towards helping everyone. And I think it's important that we really take the time to give kids space to be who they are and express how they feel during this crazy pandemic time.
Yes, and during this time, and I think we have to keep reminding ourselves that during this time we are going to have some adjustments and some concerns and worries that we work through, but that flexibility and patience to do so will be very important for all of us. As I hear some of these concerns and worries, some of you, Dr. Ramsdell talked about the equitable access, Ms. Hernandez-Davis, language, as we teach two language and our kids learn two languages, if that's the choice that they've chosen for their education. I hear not making mistakes, but if we make mistakes, how can we work through those? I hear a lot about, Dr. Stucker too, your emotional well-being for our kids and for our parents. We all in our districts have wraparound services that support kids and families at really high levels, whether it's food distribution right now, whether it's school psychologists, counselors, social workers who are supporting our families and our kids. What do you think is going to be most important from that wraparound service lens for you as parents or you as principals for our kids?
Well, I'll go first. I think it's very important to have connection. And that kind of goes along with what I was saying, but communication and connection. We don't want anyone to get lost, so we can provide an equitable education. I think that we just have to communicate and try to reach out and ask questions of each other. I think it's really important to keep that connection between our families and our kids and our staff.
Yes, communication at high levels, the two-way back and forth, the feedback along the way, very important. Thanks, Dr. Stucker, for offering that.
To piggyback on Dr. Stucker, I would say that a big concern is the emotional well-being and stability of the parent. They're going through the same trauma and stress while working, taking care of their kids. So making sure that we're providing resources to them as well, because we're working in partnership with them. And if that partnership is broke because they're not able to sustain that, we need to be able to provide some sort of resource and outreach to them to give them the help they need so we all can be successful.
As parents, does that resonate with you?
For me personally, we've been in school now a little bit, so a lot of my concerns have worked through. We've kind of seen how they've played out. Our school, our PTO has a Facebook page that we have tried to allow and encourage parents to ask us questions. School is really busy right now. They don't have time for the average phone call of, I don't understand. So we have tried to create a forum that parents can go and talk to other parents, reach out to other parents. And it has been a wonderful communication, a wonderful community builder within our district that has worked really well for us.
Well, I appreciate that your Facebook page is promoting the positive and the working through items right now, because it can be certainly a platform that we can tread dangerously sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
All of the opinions that can be on social media. but I'm happy that you've hopefully found a balance for that platform, Jennifer, that you can use in a productive way to support the middle school. So thank you for offering those comments. Dr. Jones, I didn't want to cut you off. Were you going to offer something?
Oh, no, you're totally fine. And I can honestly say that because of the work of Ms. Willard, as I call her Madam President, she has really been able to help us put out fires that may just engulf all the work that we're trying to do. So I really am appreciative to have a very supportive PTO president who was there to assist us with that. I am also, really, I want to make sure that, as it was stated, the health of our scholars. This is it can be very traumatic for our students. We know that there are so many things that could happen with our students being away from us. And so it's going to be important that our teachers, who are really that first line of defense, and really our parents are, we want our parents to be mindful of what the students are thinking, how they're feeling emotionally, how they're viewing society, how they're viewing the world. We actually intentionally created an assignment for our students, all of our students, to even talk about how COVID-19 has affected them and even the racial unrest that is going on in our society and how they view it through their lens. We want students to speak their truth. We want to keep them engaged. We want to keep them talking, keep them learning, but we need not only the parents, but we need our teachers who become the front line of defense for the schools to be able to gauge where the students are and then to provide the services, whether it be the wraparound service of our social worker, whether it be the counselors or the administrators or finding some other support. We need so many individuals to help us to contribute to discovering where our scholars are so that we can continue to maintain a very healthy experience for everyone involved.
Great notes. So parents on this call, as you hear Dr. Jones talk about connecting with kids emotionally and asking about their feelings, how are you as parents checking in with your kids about how they're feeling about this arrangement as we approach the year? And then maybe some advice to our principals on how they can also do those check-ins emotionally with our kids.
Well, one thing
Go on.
Sorry, Trevor. One thing I always, in our household, we have, anybody can call, we can talk about things. And so we've had sporadic meetings or caucuses of just sitting down and saying, are we ready for the school year? What do you need? And, each child is different and each has different needs. And so I've asked them, individually what they need. I made checklists, and I think from there, I'm able to either have that piece, and if there are any concerns, and that's when I go to the Facebook websites that we have for Walden, as well as for there's one for the Park Hill School District for online learners, and we're able to check in that way and get information. But I think as just parents, as we're ramping up for our school to start next week, it's just we have a starvation of just communication, making sure that as soon as they make decisions that we know to give us some kind of piece and direction of how to communicate that down to our students so that they have an awareness and they're not on edge or getting kind of blindsided whenever they do log on that, well, I thought it was going to be this way, but they find out it's another way. Just a constant communication is going to be very helpful for us as parents, as well as us helping our students here at the house.
Jennifer, did you want to add to that?
I was just going to say I have 2 middle school daughters, and we are very close already, but it has been a lot of anxiety, just how this will look, how going back. And I will give a huge shout out to our center teachers, because every class so far has talked about what are your concerns, what are your fears, what are your worries. And it has been wonderful to see the kids react to just simply seeing and hearing the teachers' voices again, and how much just that visual has lifted their spirits. And I think a lot of the kids in all the different districts, when they start to get engaged with their classes and their teachers, I think a lot of that will be heartwarming to see that reconnection come back.
Ms. Bowne, do you have some comments relating to the emotional, how you connect with your students and how we should be connecting with our students here in the schools?
Well, I think to kind of piggyback on what everybody else has said, I think communication is absolutely key. And when we had to make the decision of going in person or doing online for this semester, it was a family meeting that we chose to make those choices because we wanted the kids' input, because it's something they were going to have to commit to for at least the entire semester. And so we didn't want just my husband and I making the decision. We wanted it to be a family decision. So we had everyone's buy-in. And then we've just continued the communication. Park Hill this week has sent out a lot of information from teachers, principals. And so a lot of videos and what school is going to look like. My younger one, she's like, are we going to get recess? Where do we eat? There's just a lot of unknowns. So it's letting them see the videos and trying to answer, the questions as much as we can. But all the communication this week from the district has been very helpful.
Good to hear. As communicators, we love hearing that. Thank you for the feedback. Ms. Hernandez-Davis, do you have thoughts about how our kids can connect with us at school and what you're seeing among your kids?
I will just agree with everyone else saying about communication. The only addition to this would be that sometimes the kids don't communicate really with words. So I think we're becoming a little bit of therapists at some point, probably the teachers too, when they start, having more contact with them, even if it's just through video. But just kind of besides asking them, that's what we try to do at home, but sometimes it's just the way they react, and you can feel their fears or questions about what the future is going to be like for them, and so just try to keep, observation and questioning the kids about what they feel or what they want, what they think, basically.
For our principals on the call, hearing these parent comments and parent thoughts, what are some strategies? What are some things that you're going to be able to do or currently already doing since you're in school, Dr. Jones? What are some things that you're going to be able to offer and do to help support the emotional needs for our kids?
Well, we have instituted here at the secondary level advisory, and it's that time to build community with our students. So it shrinks the school. So now the teacher has an opportunity to speak to mentor 12 or 13 students at a time through some of the issues that they may be encountering. It's an opportunity for the students to communicate with them live. They also have the opportunity to communicate with whoever it is through other electronic means. But we want students to know, and we've spent the first several days of school very intentionally letting students know how to navigate through the technology, but also how to navigate and seek the help that students may need. And we're on standby. It is literally, it's literally happening live, every situation. We just want everyone to feel comfortable. And by doing that, communication. Some people say it's too much communication at times. Some people may say it has never been enough. We believe in overly communicating. So that way, individuals who are picking it up at some point in time, they're going to figure out, okay, this is what we offer. This is what we can provide. This is what I can access. And this is how I can access it. So it's a constant message, a consistent message that we'll continue to shout throughout our existence in this particular phase of our instruction.
Dr. Stucker, Dr. Ramsdell, any comments about how you're going to be supporting your kids emotionally?
Sure. I First of all, this call is I'm learning so much and gaining ideas. I'm jotting them down as we're talking. But I think that I hear that communication is key, and not just communicating, but providing clarity in that communication. I think that's really important, because I agree with Miss Woodley when she shared that if you don't know the plan, then you're very anxious for what's going to happen. So we need to provide as much structure and clarity as we can before these first few days starts, because online kids and in-person kids are nervous about what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, what it's going to sound like. So we need to continue to try to provide that clarity and get as much communication out as we can. And the second piece is that we work hard to designate go-to people for each of our students. And Walden is really, really blessed that we get to implement an social-emotional learning curriculum called Character Strong. So that breaks it down even more into smaller groups, and we tackle some of those issues about anxiousness and empathy and just those great character traits, but in a smaller setting so that they can feel very connected to the teacher and so they can feel better about school. And this includes our online kids. This is every single one of our Walden Jaguars is going to get the same opportunity. And I think that's very important, is that they feel like they are our kids. I don't want any virtual kid to think, oh, I'm not really a Walden Jaguar. I'm not in the building. That is so far from what I want. I want everyone to say, you know what? That's where I belong. I'm a part of the Walden Middle School.
And at Foreign Language Academy, just like Dr. Jones, our middle school, we do advisory. Our elementary students, we do morning meeting. And the big push is to start your day off addressing social emotional concerns, goal setting for the day, understanding with clarity the expectations for that day, and reviewing our week's task cards. We also created this year Google Sites for every grade level. And on the front page of every site, there is a direct link to the counselor, so parents or students can do a referral form and get an immediate response from the counselor. We know that this is going to be something that many students are going to need. So making sure we're being proactive in how we address that and communicating that with our families starting this week with orientations was very important.
Thanks, Joel, for saying that. I love that tip about the counselor contact immediately and very accessible for our kids and for our families. Thanks for that quick tip. So we've talked a little bit about concerns and worries, about emotional health for our kids, a little bit from both the principal and family side. One of the things I asked the kids as well this morning that I'm going to ask you is what maybe advantages or what positives have you seen come out of this situation in which we're offering some choice for how we learn, offering different platforms for how we learn? What are some advantages that you have seen come from this pandemic situation in our public schools?
I would say that people are kind of having to move outside their comfort zone. And we have learned so much in the last 5 or 6 months. It's been amazing. So we're having to explore new avenues and really think about the learning styles of our students, how to best meet their needs in a virtual environment. So it's the learning that has happened has been incredible.
Yes. Some of the same feedback we got from our students, same comments from them. Other thoughts about advantages that we have seen from this situation and these different learning styles?
I found it very interesting that our kids who are so technologically advanced, so much more so than the adults, have really taken this initiative to be creative and innovative in their learning and their application of their learning. To a point that I see a higher level of engagement with many of our students than we saw in a traditional setting. So, piggybacking on the previous comments, we are learning new ways to teach, but the kids are also showing us new ways that they can learn and ways for us to then approach teaching. So it's been a great period of growth overall.
I definitely echo the sentiments of my colleagues that we are definitely seeing something evolve out of this situation that I think is going to stay with us for generations. We no longer will see business as usual or as it was done in the traditional sense. I don't think from this point on, whether or not if there's a vaccine that's found and it's no longer a pandemic, we now see that we have an opportunity to educate our scholars from a distance. It's not the preferred way, but in the event that something happens, we can do that. We at one time did not feel that our scholars who were from kindergarten through 8th grade, that they were capable of taking technology home, using it properly, using it for what it was intended. Well, now we're sending technology home with our students. They've learned to make this become a part of the normal part of their day. And it's a part of their work. It's now a resource that helps them gain an advantage in learning. And it also, too, when we talk about equity, I'm circling back around to that, that now we all have access. Not just a few have the technology access at home, but now everyone has it. And we're able to expand learning and beyond just even the school day. So our scholars can take what they have, take what they've been taught, and go beyond what we're giving them. And that right there, I think, has been tremendous. Our teachers have definitely been pushed outside of the comfort zone. So have I. I've been pushed outside of it, and we're now more receptive to learning about different platforms, different softwares, different ways and modalities of teaching and providing some of our research-based, action-based research for our students where they can go in and do things that are relevant to their world using the technology that they have. So it's had more benefits actually than anything else.
Good to hear. As parents, what do you see as advantages that have come from this situation?
Well, in my personal experience is getting to know my kids more about how concentrated they are, more than I expected when it comes. I'm responsible about homework, about for whatever reason they felt that even though the teacher wasn't physically in front of them, they had to finish, the homeworks, like by the end, at the end of the last school year. That's what they were showing me, that they were really challenged, but at the same time, they really wanted to show that they could do it, so it was a very nice experience for me as a parent. And the other advantage I see is just as a community with my the PTO and in my from FLA, how we try to help other parents, and how I found out about other families trying to help other moms that were working and babysit, and things that you never expected or thought that could happen with parents that you didn't know that well, but they offer help, and that was super nice.
Yes, I think we've seen a lot of parents coming together to offer support, offer help, just check in with each other as moms, as parents. We should have gotten some dads on this call. Why didn't we get some dads on this call? But as moms, as parents taking care of our kids, we like to find those peers who have similar experiences or even different experiences, so that we can, feel it together and resonate together with what we're going through in our experience. So I appreciate you sharing that, Ms. Hernandez-Davis. And I love that at the Foreign Language Academy here in KCPS, we do have parents supporting each other in that way and checking on each other. It's really a testament to Dr. Ramsdell's leadership, as well as the community that you build there and the culture that you build there. Thank you for sharing. Other parents have thoughts about advantages that you're seeing, or you're just ready for the kids to go back to school in a traditional sense? And
I am ready for my girls to go back, even though it will be virtual and I will be teleworking, so we'll all be under the same roof together. However, during the last virtual that we had at the end of the school year last year, my girls did enjoy being able to work at their own pace and tackle and beat some of the issues and challenges on their time, as well as getting, you know, the homework in on time. However, they were more creative. My twins being both at Walden in the same team and everything else, so there was a little bit of competition there. So it kind of pushed them to work harder. However, to see them create or complete the homework and the outcomes being different for both of them, but both being great, was good for me to see their learning styles. And so that was an advantage to me to be able to see all three of my daughters' learning styles. And a plus for me was that I was able to see all the hard work, because parenting is hard, but to see a little bit of fruit from my labor of having them to work on keeping a routine, being prepared, and following through, communicating through email with their teachers when they had issues or didn't understand. I began to see independence, that they were able to reach out on their own and take care of things. And they would come back to me and say, Mom, I heard right back from Mrs. Todd or whoever, and said that, to keep on doing this or make this little change, and she was doing good. And so they enjoyed being able to communicate with their teachers via email when they couldn't do face-to-face and get that feedback. So there are some advantages.
I personally have absolutely loved being virtual. Like I said, we're a little bit into this. It's fun for me. I'm home with them. Immediately when they hang up from a class in that 10-minute overlap, immediately I get input. Immediately I'm hearing what they're doing, what they need to do, and I'm seeing so much more out of them than waiting to the end of the day at 3:30 when I see them to hear about their day. And it's also, I've noticed now that it's middle school. All of the other busyness that would happen in class, in building, we don't have that now. We are check in, have a little conversation, and we spend 90 minutes working and getting through our day and the teacher's lessons. And that, I loved seeing that. It's taken out a lot of that nonsense of their classes.
Well, every kid has different learning styles. And, the spring was a little bit challenging in this household. My younger one thrives on having her teacher face-to-face, having her friends around. My older child, I did learn a lot about his learning style. I probably would have placed him in the same box with her, but he was a lot more independent. He's a little bit more timid, so reaching out to his teachers, I saw that growth over time, having to push him a little bit. But also, I think a good thing out of it, I gained even more respect, I think, for teachers than I did have. I'm very involved in PTA at the schools and always want to support the teachers, but even more so now, they're dealing with online, they're dealing with in-person. They have such a balancing act going on. We're going to see these kids come back, whether online or in person, and kids have been through a lot. So I think they're going to wear many hats more than usual this year. So just really trying to get out there and support them as well as the students is just as important this year as everybody starts to go back.
Well, one, thank you. As an educator and as a parent, thank you for offering that. Thank you for saying that you see the teachers working so hard and you have a better, maybe not better, but bigger appreciation for what they do on a daily basis. Personally, my son got his email from his teacher yesterday, and we were watching the video of her introducing herself, and I got a little teary in the background because I thought these teachers are so amazing right now, right? They are doing so much. They are moderating, they're adjusting, they're modifying. And I just got teary because, yes, last year it was kind of hard for all of us, right? In the spring, and now we're gearing up for this fall. And I think it was just endearing to see her on video trying so hard and being so professional and fun and upbeat at the same time. I was so proud of her, and I'm so proud of all of our teachers because they are putting their best effort into making this a really great year for our kids. And I'm just so proud of that. So side note, but I'm just so proud of all of our teachers. So Dr. Stucker, Dr. Ramsdell, Dr. Jones, what are you seeing from our teachers right now? What is our teachers' mindset as we've started or are getting ready to start this school year?
I can go first. Our teachers have been working diligently, endlessly in preparation to make sure that the start of the school year and however long we are doing distance learning is successful. That is their singular goal, to make sure that as we get back with our students, they are prepared, well prepared. They have a plan A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Making sure that every avenue, crooked is thought through in advance, and they're being very proactive as how they're approaching that. They're nervous also, because as we all know through technology, it always doesn't work. So there's trying to make sure they're prepared for those hiccups that might happen as well. So we're advancing new processes that will hopefully benefit our students as they transition, hopefully back into the school once we get that clearance and can do so safely.
Well, I would just definitely echo how hard our teachers have been working, just making plans, just like you said, A, B, C, D, all of those plans. They are worried about doing everything correctly. They're just naturally love kids, and so they want to do everything that's right, but they've been working super hard. They've been balancing a lot of things with new technology, just new way of thinking. I keep telling the teachers that it's kind of like it's all of us. It's our first year teaching again. That anxiousness that comes with that. But also I've noticed, especially in the last couple of days, there's been this rising excitement that school is coming on Tuesday, that we're going to start meeting with kids, seeing kids, whether it's virtual or in person. I have noticed a little bit more spark in their step in the last couple of days.
So in regards to what has already been stated, with the excitement and all the emotions that the teachers are going to experience as they lead into those first days, I've had the pleasure of now being in the situation when we've had students for 8 days. And what we've learned within those 8 days, teachers have had to recreate schedules with the way that we deliver instruction. We're using Microsoft Teams rather than Zoom. And so with that, we create classes for each period, because we're also working within almost a hybrid schedule within our Virtual Plus model, where we have groups of students that come in and work, small groups of students that work with the teachers on any given day, live, and it led through live instruction. We've had to change up. Our schedule's changed up. Now next week's going to be a 4-day week, where we already had things set for a 5-day week. Last week was a 3-day week. The teachers have been, and that's why I use the word resilience. They've been very resilient through this process, and so have our parents and our students. And so there's increased work. Some of us have said that since we've gone through this modality of learning, that the work has gotten even more difficult and it has become more. But I'm seeing teachers who are collaborating. The spirit of collaboration has been huge with our groups, not only with our professional learning communities, but just collaborating across the board, because some people are stronger than others with technology. Some people may be stronger than others with some of the issues that we encounter, but I'm seeing teachers become more and more collaborative, and they are okay with having someone to infringe on their time, because it's all about supporting scholars.
All about supporting. You got it. That collaboration is so high right now, right? People having to pitch in, support, collaborate, and ask questions, right? Sometimes as adults, we like to ask questions because we want to know the answer without having to ask. But making mistakes, asking questions is going to be kind of normal for us now. So parents, I'm interested to know, and maybe you can offer some advice to other parents who are watching the show today. What have you done at home to prepare your space, environment to have a classroom at home for your kids, essentially? What are some good tips or advice for how you prepared your home for virtual learning?
I included my girls. I let them pick a spot in our house. They set up their desks. They've made it their personal space. I've provided various, like they have the office chair, they have a yoga ball because we don't all want to sit in a chair all day. They have corners that they can go to study and take their computers. I've also made sure that we have lots of sticky notes of if this happens, here's what you're going to do. And so that in that moment when their anxiety can get them because it's new, they can learn and look up and see, okay, my Wi-Fi went out. I need to email my teacher right away and all that. We've also think of reasons that they want to get up and solve all of those reasons. So have their water bottle, have a snack, have some kind of fidget toys so that the hands can stay busy. Just they have a fan next to them, all so that they can be comfortable and stay in their seat and focus and pay attention to what's going on. And so far it's worked okay.
Well, here at my house, I in the spring, I thought, well, if I get one long table, have all three of them there with their laptops, and I can keep an eye on them from my office as well as they can kind of collaborate. It worked up until like the last few weeks, and then I was like, they probably need their own space. And so this time we're going into, they all have their desk in their rooms, and so I asked them what else they needed for their comfort and for them to stay focused. And so like Jennifer said, my girls, they have their office chairs, but then also two of them have the large bean bags so they can sit down with their laptops or just get away to study or read, as well as I got the holders for the laptop so they can elevate it. After I've been teleworking, I know that's very important for ergonomic and for your back and everything else, for them to have that comfort level for seeing the screen face on, as well as soon as that first day hits and I kind of have a schedule from the teachers, and then I'm going to create our home schedule so that they're getting up. In the spring, we got up as a family at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we did like PT or working out. Sorry, we're Army family. And we'd all work out together and come back in, shower, breakfast, and then everybody was in their place to get moving and focus on the work at hand. And that seemed to work. They had a comfort level, and then they had an energy that they were able to get out, as well as, keep our health good and our bodies going so that they're able to focus on getting their work done.
Yeah, here it's definitely creating a schedule and trying to, stick with that every day, because my son being on a hybrid, some days obviously he'll be home and some days going to school. So it's just keeping a consistent schedule so that he knows what to expect every day. Schedules just came out for school on Friday, so that's been helpful. And then also, I think everybody's talked about the different ways of offering different seating, because the kids are used to getting up at least every 90 minutes and switching classes and having a little bit more time to walk about. So instead of sitting at a table, for 4 hours, I don't think you can expect that. So being able to offer standing up, sitting down, different comfort levels. But I keep the kids all on the level that I'm going to be at, just so that I'm here to help or see what's going on a little bit more than creating a space outside of the main level or out of my sight.
Same with the, like in this case for my kids during the end of the school year, they were literally working on the dining table, but the schedule was a little bit shorter, right? I mean, the time on the computers, but this time we're preparing 2 desks, and they chose the colors. We did some TLC on them, and I think they are, creating their own environment. Even when my little one is in 2nd grade, she got to choose whatever she wanted in that matter. And we also find very helpful to go for walks, just like around the block. And that really, even just to talk about the class, to talk about just the trees, and kind of if they wanted to talk about how they felt with school or classes, fine. If they wanted to talk, just kind of forget them, talk about other stuff around the streets, that was relaxing too.
So I hear you all saying things about flexibility for your students, spaces for your students, areas that are dedicated to them learning. I love the idea of PT for all of our kids at 6 o'clock. Can we come over to your house?
Come on over.
And our kids to PT with you with masks and socially distanced, of course.
Of course.
But yeah, we only do PT at 6 a.m. But I hear lots of your voices saying spaces dedicated, supporting them. And then time to take breaks too, water bottles, snacks, walks, time to get out from their spaces. So as we think about, we have PE and we have music and we have art and we have language courses, we have STEM courses that are those specials elective courses for our kids. How are we interjecting that time to breathe and that time to have a little bit of a break during our day that's not just academically oriented for, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. So thank you for providing those thoughts. As our principals come back on and we're hearing some of your comments, I have one last question for you before we close out our show. And the last question is, what are your hopes and dreams and wishes in this situation to make it ideal for your kids, for your students? What are you hopeful for this year? Dr. Ramsdell, first.
Thank you. I was just waiting patiently. I was like, who's going to go first? My goal, and I told this to my 8th graders last night, and it really goes for every single student. Our goal is to have a successful year in which we are all growing and meeting our academic goals for the year. And especially with my 8th graders last night, I told them, as you are preparing to go to a high school, my goal is to make sure you're prepared to go to the high school you deserve to go to and want to go to. So if you want to go, for example, to Lincoln College Prep, you have to be the 60th percentile or higher in reading and math. Our goal is to always get you there or above. So to do that now in a virtual setting makes it a little more challenging, but our goal is to make that a reality for every single student, no matter what grade level they're in.
So continuing the academic achievement, the academic progress, no matter what setting we're in, is a very much goal of yours. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Stucker, what is your hope, your goal, your wish for this year?
So there's lots, but one I really hope is that kids still feel connected and loved, that kids still feel like they belong, because in the middle school, time is when kids struggle to find out who their friends are, and sometimes they don't feel like they don't belong. So whether they're virtual or online, I want them to still feel connected. And then we can, once they feel connected and they feel like they belong and they feel okay, then they'll be able to learn. We want to create some high trust and some low stress for our kids. That's my hope.
So in addition to what was already stated by my colleagues, I am definitely encouraged about what it is that we're going to provide for our scholars. We want them to come out as better thinkers, better doers, critical thinkers. And I believe that this opportunity is going to provide that for them, and not only for the scholars, but for those of us that are serving as educators. We are now seeing education delivered through a different lens, one that many of us probably never thought would ever happen during our time, but we're faced with it. We're also proving that we can make the adjustments, as teachers and educators have always done. I'm curious to see what schools of education will look like with budding teachers now that virtual learning is a part of the way we do things. So I definitely expect our students to reach the goals that have been set. We're going to recapture the learning that may have been lost, because we can all be honest that the spring we were trying to survive. So I believe that we're going to be able to push them and get them to gain access to the information that's critical for them to be successful scholars.
I guess my biggest hope is I have faith in Center School District, in the middle school, and in my daughters. We will be fine educationally this year. I hope that when they look back, yes, how are you going to forget this? We are in a global pandemic, but I hope that they can look back and have fond memories of fun and engaging in their teachers, and have that memory of 6th and 8th grade was something special. Yes, it might be virtual, and it could be virtual for a while, but that it was fun and that they really felt that they created school memories that they will have for the rest of their lives.
Well, to each of you on this call, parents, principals, your jobs are immense. Your jobs are important. Your jobs are valued. And just want to offer you one more chance to say any parting words before we finish. Any parting words from any of you?
Kelly, I just want to say, number one, I salute Kansas City Public Schools. It has a special place in my heart. That's where I got my start as an administrator at Northeast High School, and then 2 years at Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School. And I'm so proud to see this platform being provided. I always said that it's a gem, and Kansas City Public Schools is doing some great things. And I applaud you and Dr. Bedell and his team of innovators to be able to have this platform for our community. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We're so glad to have you. And we see it very much as our responsibility as this platform reaches beyond only beyond our borders, but into the whole region. We see it as our responsibility to help inform and provide experiences for all of our kids across the region and not just KCPS kids. So thank you for saying that, Dr. Jones. We're very excited about this platform. Any other parting thoughts from the team here?
Realize there's going to be hiccups. It's going to happen, and we're going to solve them. Monday, we had a rainstorm, a thunderstorm, and we were not prepared for a thunderstorm, but we got through it. We learned we're now ready for the next thunderstorm and understand that hiccups are going to happen. And like originally said, have grace to get through it.
All right. Well, you're so appreciated, parents, principals. I think principals have one of the best and hardest jobs in school districts. You deal with parents and kids and district leadership and community members, and your roles are so valued and so important. Just thank you for taking the time out of your day to visit with us and provide input and provide some advice for our families and for our kids. And then parents, you're going to be great this year. Good luck to you. We're proud of you as parents for being partners in this together with us. We do see you as partners. We do see you as valued teachers in your roles. And so thank you for being those people who are going to help us take care of kids, not only your kids, but kids in our districts all across the society. And so you're appreciated. We appreciate the thought that you put into this program and put into what you do each day. Thank you for joining us. And we will wish you the best luck and sign off by saying, hands in. Everybody hands in.
Okay.
Hands in. And on the count of three, we're going to say, what are we going to say?
We got this.
We got this. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. We got this.
Thank you.